Welcome to Homefront Sit Rep. I hope you're in for a great show today because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe yours.
You can find Homefront Sit Rep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also check out Homefront Sit Rep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting. Good afternoon, everybody. How is everybody doing on this fine, glorious Sunday? James, how are you, sir?
I'm alive.
You're alive.
It's about as good as I'm going to get today. I'm
So
tired.
How was that parade yesterday, that Christmas parade there in Shepherdsville? How was it?
It was awesome, dude. There was a ton. I didn't expect that many people out there with the weather the way it was, hit or miss whether it was going to rain or not. Man, we made that turn in downtown. That place was packed, dude. It was
Nice.
awesome. It was pretty awesome. We had the little tank out there, and my son-in-law was driving the truck and the Warrior Rounds trailer. So stop. So it was good.
Charlie's not leaving you alone, will he?
He's not. He missed his daddy. Of course, I went hunting for a week, and then it was a few days after I got back before I picked him up. So he pouts the day I pick him up because he has to leave his girlfriend. So he's over his pouting stage. Now it's like all about dad. He needs dad's attention. Again, right. I can sit on this computer for hours and not say a word. And he's over there playing, acting a fool. And as soon as I start talking, he's got to be right here like, hey, what's going on? I got to be involved in it.
Right. Well, today we're going to interview Mr. Don D.B. Bramer from the American Freedom Fund, also the Bramer Group in D.C. If you don't know Don Bramer, he is a Kentucky native. He's a military news analyst. He lives in D.C. at the current moment in time, but he's going to retire to the island one of these days. So let's welcome to the stage Mr. Don Bramer. How are you doing, D.B.?
What up, DB?
James, Willis, what's going on, my guys? So good to see you guys again.
Hanging in there, my friend, hanging in there. So two of your people jumped on the line as well. One of them already dropped off, but I think Jared's still on here. So how's DC's weather right now, DB?
Well, I hope Kentucky's better, because I'll tell you right now, we've got fog, it's misting. The dog woke me up at about 6 this morning, and he wanted to go out. And it wasn't a good walk. So I was thankful that he went out, took care of business, and we got to go back in and crawl back under the covers. It's a gross day here.
Oh, I bet. So today's actually a beautiful day today. Honestly, it's I want to say it's about mid 50s, sun shining right now. So not bad at all.
Dude, I'll take that any day of the week compared to what we got. We had a fog advisory when I landed here last night, and it's just not gone away since.
Oh man. Yeah, being that close to the coast and stuff, yeah, you probably get a lot of fog up there. But you're coming back to Kentucky tonight, and I think it's actually supposed to be middle 40s probably about when you arrive. So it's not going to be too bad the next couple of days here in Kentucky. So
nice. Well, I get home quite a bit. I have to watch it. When I say home, I actually really never know where I'm talking about anymore.
Well, home's just where you lay your head, right?
Right.
That's all that matters.
A lot of times that's the couch in my office.
Hey, if you know Cletus Evans from Marine Corps League and Toys for Tots, he's got a little pool table in his little office area, and he lives in Meade County. Well, if he's in Louisville and he's got a lot up here, he just puts a little blanket and pillow up on the pool table, and that's where he sleeps. So,
well, one thing about going in the sand, we learn how to sleep anywhere we can. And
yeah.
That's the one thing we all have in common is, it doesn't matter where it is. We can find a way to make it comfortable, whether it's a floor of the deck of a plane or a ship or in a dirt pit. We can find a way to take a nap.
Packed in like sardines in the back of a 5-ton.
Oh my God. I'll never forget those flights, from the U.S. over to Iraq, and on that cold ass aluminum floor. And thank God for Ambien.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Friggin' C-130. Oh God, no, not fun at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be sitting in the floor, one of them knuckleheads, and everybody's playing spades, and it's like you hit an air pocket and the plane just drops.
Oh,
your ass went up in the air. Cards go everywhere, and then once you land back down on the bed, everybody just kind of looked at you and I screwed the game and went back.
Yeah.
So you can sleep anywhere.
So DB, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself. I know I kind of did a little bit of introduction, but go ahead and tell our listeners that haven't that don't know who you are. Tell them who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Oh man, I appreciate it. The name's Don Bramer. I go by DB for people who've known me very long, and I've carried that name around from rodeo days to military to now doing what I do now. Everybody says your dream job is to, get out of the military, go to work for the government. Well, I did it ass backwards. I worked for the government, and then 9/11 happened, and it kind of changed my course. I enlisted and did that for several years, then went the officer route. And between active and reserve, had just over 20 years in service, mostly human intelligence for the Navy, and then jumped over a brief stint with Kentucky National Guard. And this past year, we decided to go full time into what I'm doing now, and that's working with my firm, which just celebrated its 10th year of doing foreign policy and defense lobbying. And I've got a phenomenal team that we've built over the last decade. But it allows me time to kind of work with several veteran and VSO organizations, not only American Freedom Fund, but the Military Equestrian Foundation. Because, coming back from my third tour in Iraq, I was like a lot of other people. I was in a really, really dark place. I can honestly say, like a lot, I've tasted the barrel of a gun, and it doesn't taste very good, but I bounce back, and I want others to not have to experience that. So that's kind of why I do what I do, to make sure that people never feel alone, and they always realize that somewhere out there, we all have a tribe waiting on us.
Oh yeah, definitely. So you've been involved with several Kentucky Veteran Service organizations, and then plus, AFF, American Freedom Fund. Then now you're doing the polo with the Military Equestrian Foundation. So doing that, does that help you with like your night terrors and your PTS that you might have and stuff like that? Does helping volunteer with those organizations, does that help you?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest things coming back, and I guess to go backwards, the military, and especially on the intelligence side, they're phenomenal at teaching us who to be, what to be, how to do our job. But when you come back, they don't teach you how to undo that. And, in my case, I got handed some medals, didn't get to keep the write-up because they had to be redacted. And, and all of a sudden they're like, well, thank you. And so you're stuck with all that with no way to release. And also it's a lonely feeling. And veterans are the world's worst. We think that we can fix everything. And oftentimes that leads us to either, self-treatment, whether it's through adrenaline or substances, or going in and locking the doors, closing the blinds where we feel our safest. And that's where it's just like, it's a downhill spiral. So I think giving people and I use the word tribe, is what we need. For the military is our tribe, and for a lot of people, that tribe becomes their family, their everything. Because if they came from, if they were trying to get away from a bad family or whatever, so you take that away, you rip it away, and there's a huge void. So I think it's our job to replace that and make sure that people always have someone in their phone or whatever. And I guess a good example, this past December, I had to have some surgeries as a result of burn pit exposure. And, I was bedridden for like 6 weeks. And even then, like, that tribe was there. They were either in the hospital with me or came here to my house and did nothing but watch TV. But so it's something that never leaves. And, even with what I'm going on with my own dad right now and his health, my tribe's still there. And that's what's the beauty of this is, after, we're sticking by each other. I stick by them. I had a one of the new members of the equestrian group, who's a young Marine, reached out to me last night and needed a place to crash. And he, called and he ended up on my couch. So it's give and take. They're there for me, I'm there for them. And that's the beauty of what all these VSOs do, is just to continue that familyhood and that brotherhood. Sisterhood too, no offense.
Yeah, definitely. So you were here last week, and me and you talked a couple of times last week, and then we did that Tip of the Spear podcast on the 29th, and we kind of brought that up there as well. As when we're in the military, we're trained to do our job, and then when we come back and we're what we call short timers, we're on that short timer mode. They don't teach us how to transition from being infantrymen back to civilian sector, and they're like, all right, well, you're done, you're out, see you later. And there's no training or anything like that. And then a lot of veterans, I know James, you, me, when we get out, we're like, well, what are we going to do next? What's our next step in life? And for me, when I first got out, I was like, well, this is good, but what I do with myself? And finally, I found a job that paid the bills, and then I'm still longing for that connection of brotherhood or sisterhood, however you want to look at it. And that's just so I got involved in some veteran service organizations, and some were good, some were not, and and it's just like, what am I going to do? And then it just kept progressing. And then once I started this podcast, I was like, man, this is my calling, because I've said it before. I've researched other organizations or other podcasts out there, and mainly what they do is they bring veterans on and they talk about their story. They don't talk about the veteran service organizations, the grassroots ones that are out there actually helping the veterans, and that are not focused on just the number or the funding that they're going to get from the government for the next year. So that's kind of why I do what I do, is because I want to help veterans that are needy, that are in need, uh, that these organizations can help. So and with AFF, I know what you guys do up there, and you guys at AFF do a phenomenal job of helping veterans. So
And in response to what you said, Dave, also, you talked about the story. Well, my story is the one's got me in the position I'm in now. And you talk about when soldiers come home. JT Cooper's got that song. It's called Coming Home. And there's a very specific line in it. It says, they took my weapons, they left me fighting, and they called it coming home. So when a lot of them guys do come home, we can't fix shit no more. We walk around completely lost, even with a full family around us. Look, I was a single dad. I had children. I worked like a dog 60, 65 hours a week, but I drank myself to death every night and I come home. The story from veterans has to be told, because other veterans out there need to hear it, because they may be in a similar situation and they go, dude, how did you pull your head out of your own ass? Well, let me tell you, this is what I did. What I did was not the right way. I was just fortunate enough that I'm not pushing up daisies right now on several occasions, because he knows my whole story. So, that story must be told. Um, Whatever it takes for us to help stop the 22 a day. And when I go out and I speak or I go to shows, I tell them I'm just here after one. I just need one. I don't care if there's 5 people in the crowd. I don't give a damn if there's 5,000. I need one. 99% of you folks not going to understand what I'm saying. What that one is.
Yeah.
That's the one I want.
Yeah. It took me a long time, to even admit that I went through that spell. And now if I'm giving a speech or anything, I don't hold back, because maybe my story will help somebody else who doesn't want to talk about their story. And
absolutely,
so that's kind of like, I realize, my mom especially, she was like, well, you don't want to tell people that. They're going to think something's wrong with you. And I'm like, no, if I don't say that, then they're going to think something wrong with me, because, I went and did my job, and I came back and they didn't tell me how to undo it. And you can't unsee your unexperienced the things that you went through.
Right.
And, there's either get on meds and stay on them, be a shell, or find ways to accept it. And, I tried everything. I wrote, I painted, I sailed, whatever it took to kind of just express myself. And, right now it's the horses. And, you guys in Kentucky do great jobs with your equestrian programs. And that's what we're trying to do our own version here in Virginia.
Yeah. And that's the thing with veterans, a lot of the old timers, the Vietnam vets, the World War II vets, and Korea vets, that stigma, if you tell people, oh, I'm I need to go see a therapist, or I need help for this, that stigma, oh, you're broken, something's wrong with you. No, it's not that we're broken, it's just that we need a little bit of extra help to push through what we did see while we were in the military. And like me, I didn't go to the VA right away when I got out in 2004. I'm just now starting my journey at the VA, and it's been a little painstaking. I work a full-time job, so I work from 7 o'clock in the morning to whenever at night. It could be 3 o'clock, it could be 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whatever. Well, at the VA, since I started, I was like, look, I need later appointments. The later, the better, because I never know when I'm getting off. I said, but if I can schedule it, after my 8-hour shift, so technically from 7 to 3 is my 8-hour shift. I was like, if I can do a 3:30 appointment, that'll help me out better, because I can get off at 3, make it to the VA. Well, they just called me the other day and they're like, well, we're doing away with the 3:30 appointments. I was like, well, what times do you have available? And they're like, well, anything before 3 o'clock. I'm like, that's not conducive to what I need from you guys. And they're like, well, we can't help you. And I'm like, all right. So I got a text message yesterday saying that I have a telehealth appointment at 3:30 now. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to do telehealth. I want to go there and talk to somebody in person, because I'm old school. I want to face to face with somebody. I don't want to just tell somebody my problems over the telephone. So yeah, it's crazy. So
yeah, I got out in 95. And I didn't start the VA until 14. And as you know, Dave, when I went, I was almost dead. Cancer had been kicking my ass for like 7 months before I finally went to the doctor. So, yeah.
I'm just now getting ready to start this VA process myself. And even just the part of starting it, it's scary as hell. Like,
it is.
I have this, and all my friends are like, you need to start your disability. You need to start this. And it's just a hurdle I can't get over. I keep putting it off, and I've had my phone consort and everything else, and I just keep putting it off. I don't know. It's some kind of weird mental block that I haven't been able to get over yet.
I was that way for a really long time. You can ask my wife; she'll tell you that she hounded me for years. Hey, go to the VA, go to the VA, go to the VA, and I'm like, there's other veterans out there that need it more than I do, and
there you go. That's my biggest mental block. Like, I'm in good shape. I can take care of myself, and that is why I just haven't done it. And part of it is, they're like, you could get your firm, certified as a service disabled veteran, and I'm like, I can't use that word yet, and I don't know what it is.
Well, for me, it took me to doing this podcast to realize, hey, I can't sit here and preach it to people that they need to go to the VA if I'm not doing it myself.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right.
Good point.
I didn't want to feel like a hypocrite saying, "Hey, you need to go to the VA if I'm not doing it." So that's what made me wake up and realize, hey, look, yes, there's other veterans out there that need it more than I do, but I also deserve it as well. So
I have to ask, you guys are in the red and blue shirts. I mean, I can take that in so many ways when you're side by side. Am I, is this, red versus blue, U of L, UK, conservative?
No, man. Mine's a salty dog out of Panama City Beach.
so James is a Kentucky fan, but he's also a Georgia fan.
And
Okay.
yesterday was just Georgia lost, Kentucky basketball lost. I was even rooting for Louisville, and they lost.
They
I'm
lost,
like,
yeah.
you know what the hell? I'm going back to bed.
So Jared, is Jared one of your guys, DB?
I'll tell you, Jared, you hear me. Yes. When we had our last podcast, you heard me talk about the young man who recently joined the Navy and, is at Virginia Beach, and he was at Great Lakes, and he was giving me all the updates on how it is for young enlisted. And that's Jared. So Jared's the one I've talked to. He's my inside source in the Navy.
Okay, yeah, he's on here. He's backstage. He's not got a camera or mic on, but he's on here as well. So and he shared the StreamYard link. So I don't know if he's trying to share like the link for other people to watch it or whatnot. So
I think he saw James's comment about is there a link, and he's just jumping in trying to help.
Yeah, I went ahead and tagged AFF on a post and shared the link that way as well. So
Awesome. Awesome.
So AFF can jump on there. So
I'm
let's
so challenged when it comes to a computer. I'm here to tell you, I play on this damn thing all day long, and I'm still so challenged. These damn cell phones, smartphone. Well, it's because you have to be smart to use it. I'm ready to just sling mine across the damn room.
Yeah, I just that's a good thing about having young people work for you. I can just walk in and hand it till they fix this, because I can't do it half time.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about December 13th, DB. AFF has a event coming up. I was at it in 2019. It was the Kentucky Takeover in 2019. So let's talk about the Manhattan's Martinis and Mistletoe, the 8th Annual Veterans Award Gala. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Awesome. Well, I mean, you've been there, you've experienced it, and last year was the first year of the comeback since COVID. So we were really nervous about last year, but we moved to a new location, and we're now at the historic Mayflower Hotel. We're going back there this year, and it's great. The event, it celebrates, it honors, and it highlights veterans in our community that have done a lot to build that tribe, to keep it going, and to support others. And that's what it's about. It's about honoring those who still serve. And so this year it's kind of, it's bittersweet. We will enter into new leadership for AFF next year. And I think it's a good time because, as I've always said, in order for an organization to thrive, they have to be able to let new blood come in. And I'm really thrilled about it. There's a lot of new ideas, things that I hadn't thought of. So I'll admit, hey, I've got my way of thinking. So we're excited about it. It's December 13th. There's still some tickets available. I think there's even 1 or 2 tables available if anybody wants to come in and buy a table. We have this new thing that we've added since you were there, David, called a bourbon pool. And you come in, you buy a ticket, and you don't know what bottle you get, but it's anything from, a bottle of Four Roses, or it could be a bottle of Pappy, but it's a random surprise of what you get. And all the bottles are donated by friends, distilleries throughout. If there's any distilleries that still want to donate, we'd love to have some, but all the proceeds go back to our programs. And, we've expanded to, I think we've got shooting programs in Oklahoma, Texas, Pacific Northwest. So we evolve, and we kind of go over what are the needs of the veteran community, and and let that take its course, not be set in stone that, well, this is what we are. We want to evolve because our veterans evolve, personalities change, and I think you have to be willing to that. One of my favorite parts of the event is for every pair of tickets sold, we donate one ticket back to the active duty community. And especially for junior enlisted, junior officers who wouldn't normally get to go to a black tie event like this. Our goal this year is to donate over 100 tickets. Last year we were able to do 75, and I think we're on track to do 100 this year. So the week before, I get to go to all the surrounding bases and just hand out tickets, which is, to me,
nice.
It's such a fun day. You know, I go to Arlington, I go to Fort Belvoir, I go to the Pentagon, 8th and I at the Marine, and just hand out tickets. And then you see the young guys and their dates show up, and they have a blast. And a lot of the congressional members that show up, they get to have real-time conversations with sometimes their own constituents, and hear firsthand what's going on base, in the barracks, and in training from those. And that's how they make really good key decisions.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, and I had a blast when I was there. I mean, we were there in 2019, and I had a really, really great time there. And I think I told the story with you guys on the tip of the spear. I met a sergeant major that was my one of my squad leaders when I first joined the Marine Corps. So it was pretty neat to see him and see that he was still in the military. That he was sergeant major now, and get to visit with him for a little while. And then, plus we were there with a bunch of other people from Kentucky that were there, like Chris Cruz from Cruz Custom Flags, and Brandon Elder, and a bunch of other, Kentucky folks up there. And I think we had a really great time. It was a really good event, and it was just amazing to see, what AFF has done for veterans and stuff like that. So
absolutely.
No, and I was really nervous. COVID was hard on not only our organization but a lot, because it forced people to kind of disconnect, and I think it hurt our veteran community because of all this quarantine. So we were struggling for a while. It took away our network, it took away our fundraising ability, but we kept it going. We kind of downsized a little bit and managed our resources until we came back. And so it's I talk about, everybody talks about this, how'd you do it? And to me, it's kind of like the story of the Phoenix. We kind of curled in, we laid low, and then we rose back up, and now we're better than we were.
Yeah, I mean, COVID did put a damper on every veteran service organization out there, and it did really hurt the veteran community because here we are, we're stuck in our home, and if anybody's listened to this podcast in the past, one of my things that I say is itemize and veterans we don't mix. Because your demons start creeping in when you're idle. And that's one of the reasons why I stay busy constantly. If I'm not at work and I'm not doing a podcast, I'm doing something. I'm always out, within the community. Like me and James, we just went to the Toys for Tots bike run for Marine Corps League Detachment 729. They just put that on, and I have to stay busy. If I don't, my demons start creeping in, and that's not a good mixture. So
no, I think my walls inside my house changed color more times in 2 years during COVID than they did the entire time I had the house. There was more paint and wallpaper that went up in this place. It's like, I'd watch a TV show. I was like, well, let's try that. And, so I guess, that was how I kept busy. I was either, rearranging, remodeling, or doing something just to keep moving about.
Yeah, definitely. So I've never played this video, so I just figured I'm gonna go ahead and play this video. I'm sure you've seen it, but I haven't seen it. So
I don't even know which version this is, so let's go for it.
Let's go for it.
I'm Don Bramer, founder and chairman of the American Freedom Front, and also Manhattan Marquis East Coast Veterans Award Gala. AFF as an organization stands for athletics, advocacy, and education. And part of that is when people separate from the military, they come back from deployment, they lose their sense of belonging, they lose their sense of tribe. What we do is create events and opportunities to bring tribe together, find a new community, a new place to call home, where everyone is included, everyone is welcome.
Was it echoing for you?
Yeah, it was. But Lord, now you realize how fat I was before surgery.
Oh man, that's
look,
great.
there's me. Damn, I'm so good looking.
But yeah, so the AFF does all kinds of cool things.
Yeah, and it's we've had some really good new partnerships that have come about this past year. The Grunt Style Foundation, they've started working with us and on our shooting programs, and of course we have our partnership with the MEF, which is the equestrian part of it, and that's and then we have the golf partnership as well, and it's about finding not just our organization but other organizations that we can partner with. It's about outreach, and that's the big thing that I've always wanted AFF to do is not think that we can't fix everything. We don't have all the solutions, but just like in the military, when we all work together, we can move mountains, and that's what the whole mission to me of AFF is.
Oh
You're
yeah,
absolutely right.
I really hate when you see some of our partner VSOs who they get territorial sometimes. If you're hanging out with this group, well, you can't hang out with us because we don't like each other. And that's, to me, that's the wrong message to have.
Look, we're trying to start something where we got 3 or 4 VSOs and a couple businesses, and just to let you know how firm I stand on this, I'm going to say something, and Mr. Willis is going to finish it. So I tell these folks all the time, nobody's mission statement says a damn thing about money. Nobody.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Willis, if I see or hear of any greed, what happens?
he's going to take his toys and go home.
I'm taking my toys, going home. I'm not going to play it. It just takes one big name organization to give every one of us a black eye. And we have to fight so hard to recover from that black eye.
And how many times, have we experienced that, James? These big VSOs come in and, and they've got enough money, they'll survive. But what it hurts is the small VSOs who we rely on every nickel we get. But when people stop giving, they stop giving. They don't care how big or how small you are. And it's a hard battle. And all it takes is these big organizations with their $500,000 salaries, and they don't realize how much they hurt the little guys. That's really right. And it's the small VSOs that have the biggest impact in the community. We can't afford TV commercials and all that stuff, but $25,000 mass mailings. But we're the ones that going door to door and actually spending time with our brethren.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it almost makes you think that some of these VSOs, do they care more about helping a veteran, or do they care more about putting more money in the board's pockets?
Yeah,
and that's just the way I see it.
Now I'm going to agree with you. I've gotten a lot of asks to be on different boards through the years, and I probably say no more than yes. And even with the boards I'm on now, I tell them, you get me for a year or you get me for 2 years. I put a time date stamp on myself because I don't one, I don't want to make myself in a position where being on that board affects my own health and my own happiness. So
you're absolutely right.
Because it can drag you down, and as we've all known, it takes a hard long time to recover, and you don't want to let something put you back in that spot yourself.
Yeah, I'm very picky about what I do and what I allow myself to do with David and all these other groups, because I fought cancer for several years and it whipped my ass. I just ate a lot of chemo, so I'm very limited what I can do and how often. So I'm very picky what I do.
No.
Just for that simple reason, I don't want to get my name out there in something that's going to turn up like what you find in a chicken coop. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
And nothing makes me feel worse when you reopen up the newspaper, internet, and you see a bad story about a VSO, because it just it hurts all of us. And
absolutely.
It's just horrible these days because people will jump to conclusions and they loop you all in one big bucket, and and it's really hard to recover from.
Yeah, you get that black eye. Like, if an organization's out stealing money or embezzling money or whatever, it gives a black eye to all VSOs out there, or just veterans trying to help other veterans. They're like, well, what are you doing it for? You're doing it for the right reason. And there's some organizations out there that are doing it because they genuinely care. And then there's other organizations out there that are like, well, I need all veterans over here so I can get more funding. No, you're doing it for the wrong reason. So it is sometimes it's hard to get the right people in the right place. You kind of said it the other day. The reason you put a time limit on things that you do is because you don't want to get stagnant, or you don't want that organization to get stagnant. And there's a lot of organizations out there that have the same leadership that's been in charge for 10 plus years, and they're still active, but they're stagnant. They're not getting any bigger. They're not, not helping any more veterans than they did when they first started. So me personally, I agree with the whole putting a time limit on how long you do something with a certain organization. So that's pretty neat.
I can honestly, I really don't want AFF to get huge, or any organization, as long as we continue to help. And one thing I've always told everybody is, neither of the nonprofits that I work with have I ever taken a cent from. They've probably cost me more than I've ever given. Because the good thing about AFF, especially during COVID, it was the directors who donated and contributed our own money to keep it afloat when we got it, the coffers got low. So it's never been about profit or prestige or what it can do for us. It's been about doing the right thing. And and it's cost a ton sometimes, and it's been a sacrifice for all of us, but it's worth it, because I've seen the people that we've helped, and I've heard the personal stories. And to me, if like James said earlier, if I do it for just one, damn, that was worth it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's been one of my mottos for a long time, is one veteran at a time.
Yeah.
If I help one veteran today, I saved maybe their life, and then they're going to turn around and save somebody else's life. And that's the trickle down effect. You help one today, and then they're going to help somebody tomorrow. So,
and we all have this thing that we want to help these veterans because of our past experiences and what we've dealt with and what we've had to do. But at one of my shows, I had a older lady come up, and she wasn't older. Let me take that back. She was just a little bit older than me. But she gave me a coin. And she told me, she said, 14 years ago, I was told not to keep this coin when it was given to me. She said, I would know the day to give it to someone else. And she said, I've heard you talk all weekend long about trying to help just one. And her husband was standing beside her. She had big crocodile tears in her eyes. She gave me a great big hug, and she said, you helped at least one. She said, and that one was me. She's not a veteran, but because of our experiences and because of our mouth, we're able to help other folks simply because we give a shit. And that's all it takes. So many people in this country have now got to the point where they just don't give a shit. It's all about me. Well, I lived that life. I lived it for 51 and a half freaking years until I pulled my head out of my ass. It's not about me anymore. I don't have much longer on this earth, and I'm going to run my mouth as much as I possibly can to try to help someone else.
I think as long as we're helping someone else, we're still helping ourselves. And, maybe one of the reasons that I'm able to, keep my focus and say, it's because I know I serve a purpose and I'm helping others. To me, there's no greater gift than mentoring. And, even at our firm with our intern program, I love the idea of passing on and sharing with a new generation, because that's your legacy. And, if it's not about how many toys you collect over the years of your life. It's about what you leave behind. And right now, our young people, they need that. They need mentorship. They need guidance. They need to learn how to focus in the world and realize that TikTok and all that that's not real life. It's
Please say that again, louder for the folks in the back, DB.
What's that?
What you just said. Say it louder for the folks in the back that didn't hear it or understand it. You're absolutely right.
No, I think what we've got to do today, and it's our job, is to mentor, to guide, and to help these young people today build character and show what it means to look out for others, and to create their own legacy. And it's not about how many toys you collect. It's not about your social media presence. It's about waking up and looking in the mirror, feeling good about yourself, and holding your head high and realize that, you matter in this world, and you don't need all that other stuff. It's not about likes. It's about liking yourself.
That's right.
No, I would agree with you 100%. We kind of talked about that on the tip of the spear. You know, we got the newer generation that's out here right now, and they see all these people on TikTok, you know, getting big and famous on TikTok. Well, what they don't see is what's behind the scenes on how many hours that person is putting in behind the scenes. All they see is, oh, it's an easy mentality. Oh, all I just need is one video to go viral. Well, what they don't realize is those people that are putting they're behind the scenes, they're putting in a shit ton of work to make that one video go viral.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
You know, it's kind of funny. I was reading an article about this one young person who does these travel videos, and he said, you know, he'll do a request to 100 hotels and maybe only get a response from 20. You know, look at the time of, you know, reaching out to 100 hotels to only get 20 to invite you to stay there.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of work into it, but people don't. They just see, oh my God, they live a fabulous life, and you know, it's all smoke and mirrors. You know, social media is a tool, and people need to remember that it is not a gospel. It is a tool, and you have to use it to that word. But you know, unfortunately, people believe that is life and reality, and I think it's kind of a problem because a lot of people, you know, they compare themselves to what they see on those screens, and they think there's something wrong with them because that's not them. And I think we need to rethink how we use, especially for our children, how much exposure we give to them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that's like this podcast here. You know, there's a shit ton of podcasters out there, and I can't even tell you the amount of sacrifices that for me for this podcast. Like, I work a full-time job. This is not my day job. And for me to get guests to come on, I have to reach out to several different, you know, I might reach out to 60 different people and might get a response from 2 or 3 of those 60 people, or organizations. But I mainly try to reach out to the people that's in charge of the organization. But it's just like, well, you know, I thought it was going to be a little bit easier than what it is, but you know, I can't complain. People are reaching out to me now because they see what we do. You could probably hear my dogs up there running around. They're distracting me. But you know, the way I look at it, I can reach out to 100 people and get maybe 2 or 3 people that says yes, we want to come on your show. And for me, the people that I get, they're out there, they're wanting to do, you know, they want to spread the word about their organization. And that's what I'm here for. I don't care about being famous. That's not what I'm doing this for. What I'm doing this for, and I'll tell, and James will testify, is as long as we're helping one veteran, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And you're famous to me, Willis.
Yeah, I say you got my book, but you know, it's funny because I get a lot of podcast requests, and the guy in my office who does a lot of my research, he'll look a lot of them up, and he's like, "Yeah, you don't want to do this one." And so, you know, I mean, he's straight up. He'll be like, "No, this guy's crazy. You're not going on."
Right. So, there are some crazy ones out there, and I'm like, bro, you know, a lot of these conspiracy theory vets out there that I've seen, and it's just like, bro, the FBI's gonna be knocking on your door for too long. You know,
I've had a couple of them reach out, and they're like, you know, we want to talk about this. I'm like, no, we're not.
yeah. And you know, with my podcast, it's all about getting the information out there. That it's going to help veterans.
Right.
I know there's a bunch of stupid shit that goes on in the world, and we try not to talk about politics. We try not to talk about religion, and you know, sometimes it kind of creeps in to a certain point, but we still try to keep it off the air as much as possible. So,
Hey, Willis, I'm happy because you're one of the few people that brings me on that doesn't want to talk politics.
yeah, no, I don't, and because it starts a fight, man. It really does, because like even with me and my wife, our views are so different. It causes a fight between me and her, and it's to the point where like, look, just shut up. Let's stop talking about it. Let's move on. You know.
You know, it's funny when you start getting hate mail, you know, and especially on social media. You know, I can almost tell you if I go on the air on one of the networks, Fox or whatever, I'm gonna get some feedback, either Twitter or, I mean, sometimes people are so brave, they'll Google the office phone number and call the receptionist and chew them out. And I'm like,
oh man.
And my parents, my mom especially, she takes it personal. If somebody comments bad on Facebook or something about one of my newscasts, she'll get so violent that she gets kicked off Facebook. And I'm like, 79-year-old woman getting kicked off because, but she said, well, they're attacking you. I'm like, Mom, don't worry about it. I don't care. It's just what it is. But it's just life, I always talk about, one of the reasons that we all served and raised our right hand is so that we would have the right to voice our opinion. So we shouldn't get mad at people for having a difference of opinion.
Right.
And I think that's what we've lost is it's okay to disagree and it's okay to have your own opinion, but be able to explain why. Just don't take a soundbite that you heard on the news and say, well, that's gospel, because it's not. Do your own research, formulate your own opinion, and use those critical thinking skills that God gave you.
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, you want to be a platypus, be a platypus. I'll give a damn.
Yeah.
That's your business. That ain't mine. But don't try to force me to think you're a damn platypus.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a difference. Do what you want to do, boo. I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't care. What I care about is when you try to force me to accept it and believe it.
Agreed. 100%. I love, I believe in individuality. I believe when, you do whatever you want that makes you happy.
As long as you're not hurting someone else, I don't give a damn what you do.
Absolutely. Yeah. It doesn't bother me a bit. I respect everyone, but don't force it on me. And, and realize that just because someone disagrees with you does not mean they're a bad person. You can't put people in a box. You just got to realize, like, hey, that's what makes this a great country, is we can all be different and still get along and still love each other.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, I'm going to take time out real quick to pay the bills. I got 2 sponsors that I'm going to throw up. The first one is going to be Talent, so you can visit them at www.talenttalents.com. And the second one's going to be Louisville Local Entertainment. So here we go.
Owner of Talents here, and I just want to say that we are ecstatic to be a major sponsor of Homefront SITREP, a community that is ran by veterans and made for veterans. So thank you for tuning in. Talents was formed in order to create a music scene that was together in the form of a collective, so that no one has to do everything on their own. And guess what? We've been doing this for free for over a year. So please go and check out Talents through Facebook or through our official website at www.talenttalents.com. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you again for tuning in to Homefront SITREP, a veteran-owned and operated podcast just for you.
My name's Rick Ames. I own Louisville Local Entertainment, a company for music shows, promotions, and bookings in the Louisville music scene. As a veteran, it's my honor to support and sponsor local veteran-owned businesses such as Homefront SITREP, made by veterans for veterans. So if you're in the music business and need some help booking or promoting a show for free, look me up, Louisville Local Entertainment. And thanks for tuning in to Homefront SITREP.
Yeah, so definitely check out talenttalents.com or Louisville Local Entertainment if you're in the music industry here locally in Louisville or Kentucky or around the country. Check them out. All right, we are back, Mr. DB. So you're heading back to Kentucky. We talked about that a little bit earlier today.
Yeah, I'll be heading back. I think I'm going to drop the dog off here in about 30, 40 minutes and come home, change sweats, and get on a plane and head back to the Commonwealth.
Nice. Well, anytime you come home, I know we talked about it earlier. You're going to be a short trip this time, but when you come back, we'll have to get together and hang out, go drink a bourbon somewhere, smoke a cigar somewhere, whatever.
I since I do come back so much, I about a year, maybe 2 years ago, I joined Louisville Thoroughbred Society downtown, and you know, it's just a good little respite. I can go there and have a bourbon, a cigar, and I've got to know a lot of good people there, and there are a lot of good horse people, which that's near and dear to my heart. So that's usually where I'll go because I can get. I've got a locker there now where I don't have to carry stuff back and forth. It's just there waiting on me.
Nice. Yeah, we'll definitely have to get together when you got a little bit more free time and you're not trying to get your dad situated and everything. So we'll definitely have to get together.
I would love that. A couple years ago, I think, and I don't know if you were there. We had that really cool kind of veterans town hall out in Shelbyville.
I was there.
Yeah, and that was so much fun, and I love getting out and doing stuff like that. With what we do in my day job, we work towards making sure our military has the right equipment. We lobby for that, but we also work for a lot of different veterans issues. And to me, the best way to understand how we do our job up here is to hear what's going on in the rest of the country. So I always enjoy that. Hearing what it's like at home, or just wherever. I think whenever I travel for work, I always find a diner or a tavern, and I just go sit and listen. And you can gauge a lot about the pulse of the country just by closing your mouth and open up your ears.
Yeah, my uncle told me that a long time ago. He said, just sit back and listen. He said, you'll hear everything that you need to know. You'll learn everything that you need to learn.
A lot of the analysis that I do on TV and stuff comes from that, and I always try to break it down into, language or kind of comparison that everybody can understand, not trying to, make it all academic or big words. And, I always tell everybody, they laugh at me because it's that time of the year when, we have Thanksgiving and Christmas and holidays, and we all gather around a table. And in a lot of ways, politics is not much different than that. You have to decide if you're going to sit at the adult table or the children's table. And I think a lot of our elected officials need to remember that sometimes.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I am going to put this up there. Let's see. So joinem3.org. If you want to go to the missiles, Manhattans and mistletoes up in DC on December the 13th, go to joinem3.org. Or you can go to AFF. Is it AFF.com?
AmericanFreedomFund.org. And the other thing too is for your listeners, if you're active duty and you want to come, reach out to us, director at AmericanFreedomFund.org, and we'll comp your ticket because that's it's all about bringing people together. One of the things, the reason we do that is we've all been away from our family during the holidays, and it sucks. So I always think that for one night of the year, I get to invite a lot of military members that won't be going home for Christmas into what's my home, which is that venue that night, and just let them know that we get to share our holidays together for one night,
and that they're not alone. I mean,
right.
That's a key point. There is you said it best right there. There's a lot of service members out there that are far from home, that are not allowed to travel home for the holidays. And for them to know that there's somebody out there for them that's willing to help them out, and so they're not alone for the holidays, because everybody knows that during the holidays, veterans or military members, that depression sets in because they're missing they're missing mom and dad or family members. It's horrible during the holidays. So
it's a lonely time. All right. James, my dog just surfaced now. He heard me talking, so here he comes as well.
Yep.
Well, my dogs are upstairs. They can't get down here, so or they would be running around down here like crazy. So, but yeah, so we when we did that town hall in Shelbyville when you were in. That was a pretty good little town hall that we had. And that kind of, spurred the ideal, the tip of the spear round, the Veterans Roundtable that we're doing on the podcast with all these other different veteran podcasters from Texas, Florida, Tennessee, Michigan. And, it's good to get other viewpoints from different parts of the country of what's going on within their communities, and also just have different viewpoints of what's going on in the world today, like what's going on in Israel or what's going on in Iraq, or so it's I love that ideal of reaching out to people and networking. So and that's with M3 is you get to network as well.
What might be kind of a cool ideal with all the podcasts is actually to do a virtual town hall for veterans. That might be a lot of fun to do sometime.
Yeah, we can do that. We can set it up. We can do that, a veteran town hall. I'd like to do a big webinar and have people come in. Yeah, we can do that.
Film, do part of it before a live audience and part of it virtual. That'd be a shit ton of fun.
Yes, it would.
And you gave me a great idea. And I'll tell you, when you have Liv on, who will be the next executive director, Liv Stecker, maybe we need to, it's time to add a new award. We took a couple of awards away this year, so there's room for it. So maybe we need the Veteran Podcast Award.
Yeah, definitely. Which awards did you take away?
So we took away. So where we used to do 3 VSOs a year, now there's just one Veteran Service Organization of the Year. We really wanted to start highlighting that, and then we took away the Veteran Employer. The hardest thing about these awards is people got to nominate, and even that takes effort, and sometimes people just don't even take the own effort to nominate themselves, or you get the same people every year that nominate themselves, and they'll nominate themselves for 5 different awards. It's like, and we laugh, being from Kentucky, whenever we used to have the Gatewood Galbraith, he was on every ballot running for something. And I think we've got 1 or 2 people that, even now every year we just like, well, guess who nominated themselves again? So
man,
we laugh about it now. It's like, should we just give it to them? We're like, nah, because we want to see if they'll nominate themselves again next year.
So me, I would never nominate myself for anything.
No.
And the reason being is because you don't really earn it if you nominate yourself. Now, if somebody else nominated me for it, then yeah, that would be fine. But my wife is like, well, I can nominate you, and I was like, no, that it wouldn't be the same if you nominate me. Yeah. It'd be the same as I'm nominating myself. So it's just like, and there's some people out there, that's what they do. Like you said, they nominate themselves for everything, and it's just like, bro, why would you nominate yourself?
And I always get people this time of year, especially because they know that right now we're going through the ballots and all that stuff, and they're like, well, did I win? I'm like, I don't know. I can tell you who made the final 3.
Right.
I don't know. And I said, but if you're there that night when we pop the envelope, you'll find out. But they're like, well, can you sway it? I'll be a sponsor if you can sway it my way. And of course, that's the biggest turnoff there is.
Oh yeah, for sure. Here, let me give you some money. Let me give you a bribe so you make me win. Yeah, no, come on, that wouldn't be a legit win.
And but there's a lot of that. There's a whole lot of that. They're like, well, I'll come in as a full-time sponsor if I can get an award. Well, no, not the way it works.
And that's like with sponsorships for like my podcast. I'm not going to run to people and say, hey, will you sponsor my podcast?
Yeah.
No, if you want to sponsor. I will gladly take sponsors. But if I'm not going to call you up. I'm going to say, hey, DB, we want to be a sponsor. No, If somebody wants to be a sponsor, I'll let them be a sponsor. It's not about the money anyway. So
we've been really blessed with the sponsors for M3. I'd say more than 3/4 of them have been with us every year, and they either stay the same or they increase. And some of our bigger sponsors, like Four Roses. Four Roses was the very first AFF sponsor, and they're still with us to this day. We got some new ones this year, but the bulk of them, once they come on, they stay with us because it's about over deliver. And if I tell you I'm going to do this to help promote your brand or whatever, I'm going to do that and more, because I want to show you that this is a relationship that is not one-sided. And it's the same thing with our firm. We're a team, and we got to work on this together, because there's no I. Sometimes there's a me, but there's no I in team.
Right. So like James up here, he's an ambassador for Warrior Rounds, which is based out of Nashville, Tennessee. I'm not a person that sponsors Warrior Rounds, but James is my friend, and I'm going to talk about Warrior Rounds anytime I get a chance. And then like with American Freedom Fund, anytime I get a chance to talk about AFF, I talk about AFF and what you guys do up there. And that's where this podcast comes in. Like if a veteran reaches out to me and says, "Hey, I need this," then I know people that I can reach out to and say, "Hey, this guy needs help getting a service dog," or "This guy needs help with the drug addiction," or so I can reach out to these different organizations and get this veteran taken care of. So
who's the young lady that was on with you a while back when I came on with you?
That was Megan. She was Coast Guard veteran, or Army/Coast Guard veteran.
She's a blast. She's a hoot. I had a good time with that day with you guys.
Yeah, Megan's amazing. I love her to death. But she had some personal things that she had to take care of, so she stepped away for a little while. So.
Okay, all right. Wow.
But right now I'm rolling with James T and other special guests, and we're making it work as good as we can, and we're just gonna rock and roll.
Awesome.
I'm not as pretty as she is.
Well, James, I didn't want to say that, but since you opened that door.
Oh hell.
Hey guys, and I've got to take off the dog here, so I hate to cut you guys short. But there's a bird with my name on it this afternoon.
Yes, sir.
And but I tell you what, I love everything you guys do. I appreciate all that you do for our veterans, but most of all, I really appreciate your friendship. Because communication and sharing ideas, thoughts, and stories is how we help others, but it's also how we help ourselves. And
yes, sir.
I wish everybody could do that, and realize that we can disagree and have differences of opinions, but it's like family. We can argue with each other, but nobody ever touches.
That's right.
Sir, definitely. Well, like I've told you many times, DB, if you ever need anything, I'm just a phone call away. So
I appreciate that. It's tough, dealing with your family. You start to feel vulnerable again, and I think that this week and the last few days, and even on this podcast, sometimes those demons creep up, and you don't realize when you thought you had them all put away in a box.
Yes, sir.
When you're dealing with emotional issues like family and stuff, they start to come back, and it's coming home last night to an empty house. If I hadn't had my dog, it would have been a really rough night.
Oh, I guarantee it. Well, like I said, my phone's always open to you. You can call me anytime, my friend. So,
thank you.
Absolutely.
So you be safe on this flight back to Kentucky.
I'm not driving.
Well, you're flying.
No, that's what I mean. I'm not driving it. I'll be sitting in the back, and hopefully
nice.
getting some. The best thing about flying is I actually get to sleep because nobody can call me.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
But you guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Have a blessed night, and again, thank you for all you do. And remember, if you need anything from me up here, I'm always a phone call away myself.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, and you have a great one, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bub. Thank you, guys.
All right. Yes, sir.
Man, I tell you what, DB. Ever since I met him, he's just a genuine person, man. He's straight up. I mean, if he tells you that you need anything and he'll be there, he would be there. Like last week, he was in town. His dad had some health issues, like he alluded to at the beginning of the show, and he reached out to me. He said, "Man, I'm stressed out. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this." And he's like, "Well, I'm trying to find him assisted living facility and need to get furniture." And I was like, "Well, did you think about calling Court Furniture Rental?" He's like, he said, dude, that's a great idea. He said, I didn't even think about that. And I'm like, well, that's who you need to reach out to. And
Yeah.
he did, and he's getting everything squared away with his dad. And it's just, like I said, he's just very genuine, and he really cares about veterans and what goes on in veteran lives. And
Oh yeah, you can see that. You can hear it when he talks, man.
Yeah.
You know, you can hear the I give a shit in his voice. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's very, a lot of people would be afraid to walk up to him and talk to him just because of who he is. I don't want to say celebrity, but his celebrity status, because he is on a lot of the major news networks and stuff like that. What's up, Rick Ames? We were just talking about you, Rick.
Rick.
But his a lot, but he's one of the most approachable guys out there. Like I said, I reached out to him a while back, and he was on our podcast before, and then we've been good friends since 2018 when I first met DB. And he's just a real down to earth, genuine kind of guy, man. I can't say enough good things about him. And then AFF here, I'm gonna share AFF here. American Freedom Fund. As soon as my page gets loaded up here, share screen. So you go to AFF, AmericanFreedomFund.org. This is their main page here. Go through here, and then the disengagement from communities by veterans and active duty military has contributed to serve a rate of suicides we are currently observing. We believe sports and athletic competition encourages community involvement that combats the feelings of loneliness and helplessness. That's Gabe Stecker. He's one of the co-founders.
Nice.
So yeah, you come on here, you can contribute. These guys have been around for a while. You can, let's see, go back here. Let's go to main menu. And then right here, about us. As soon as my internet decided it wants to work. So they were founded in 2016 by 3 combat veterans, Don Bramer, Rob Miller, and Petty Officer Gabe Stecker. After their individual tours of duties, they sought a way to continue serving their brothers and sisters in arms, providing the veteran community the opportunity, the means to maintain it in fellowship, and the support of military as they transition towards their next career. So yeah, I mean, they've been around for a while. Highly respected organization up in DC.
Right.
And this lady here, she will be the new lady in charge. So
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it's pretty neat. I can't wait to see what they're going to do in 2024. And I did give Don B or DB when I was talking to him, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. I was like, hey, I said, AFF needs to come up with a veteran podcast award with a different, all the different veteran podcasts out there. Have them all get nominated and see who is the best veteran podcaster. I think that'd be a pretty cool idea.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you.
Because there's several of them out there. You got Homefront Sit Rep, you got the Triple Threat Vets podcast, you got I Am Pitch, you got Misfit Nation, Oscar Mike. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So yeah, it's been one of those days, man. I tell you, got up this morning with the wife and kids. We went to church, listened to the message today at church, and the message today was about giving, and that kind of goes into veteran giving as well, because if you're an organization that just takes and takes but don't give,
Yeah,
then that's not right. You need to be an organization that just gives, because I tell you what, there's nothing better than giving to other veterans. For me, when I'm out demo houses and rebuilding a house for a homeless veteran, that's an amazing feeling.
Sure.
If I'm out giving, sandwiches to homeless veterans, that's an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
And it's never about me. It's always about taking care of other veterans.
That's right.
And that's kind of like the message today at church. It was about giving. And sure, you might be giving 10%. Why not give 90%?
That's right.
If you got free time and you're out doing absolutely nothing, go out and help volunteer your time somewhere.
You're damn right.
There's always somewhere out there. Somebody needs even if it's just an ear to talk to.
Yeah.
A lot of times a homeless veteran, that's all they need is an ear to talk to. And it's not about giving a handout, it's about giving a hand up. So, but anywho,
I agree 100%, brother. People
yeah.
just don't know. And until they started dipping in a little bit at a time, then they'll realize, and then more time, and then they'll give more time. Because once they, as you know as well as I do,
Yeah. Yeah.
once you start, you can't stop. You just
No,
can't stop.
it's an addiction, honestly, and my wife and kids will tell you that they've sacrificed a lot with me helping the veteran community. And my youngest daughter, Lorelai, she'll go with me a lot of times to these different veteran events. Like she was with us on the Toys for Tots run that we did the other
Yeah.
day, and she loves doing it. And she sees the joy that it brings me to do these veteran events that I do.
And she's
And
anyway.
what's that?
She's a damn hoot anyway.
Oh yeah,
She's a
oh,
mess.
yeah. She
She's
is
a mess.
She is. That is for sure. So, but she loves doing it, and I'm my oldest daughter. She does too, but she stays stupid busy with archery, and of course, they're both 4.0 students in school, and she's always studying. She's the bookworm of the two, her and Lorelai. But it's man, I tell you, I love it, and I don't know, man. It just warms my heart that they get involved as much as I do. So
Right.
and
Yeah.
and that's a no better feeling, as a parent, as a veteran, to see that my kids want to go out and help volunteer their time too. So
Yeah.
my wife, she does it too. Like it's like she come out of retirement. She says she went and helped at the Dogs Helping Heroes gala that they had not too long ago, and she's like, I miss doing that. And I'm like, why did you ever stop? And I know why she stopped, but that's her story, not mine. So
Yeah. Yeah.
she stopped for personal reasons, and um, now she's getting back into the swing of things, and that's just what we do. We teach our kids to help the community that helps them. So
Well, maybe someday I'll be able to convince somebody to help me too.
hey, we always help you, sir.
Oh, I know. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm
But
waiting
anyway,
for the new year, see what all goodies we can get wrapped up in.
well, we're going to start that come January. We need to get with the other organizations and get this Warrior Rounds for Kentucky set up.
Yeah.
10 singers, 10 singer-songwriters, 10 veterans. We're going to create Warrior Rounds in Kentucky. Not Warrior Rounds Kentucky, but in Kentucky. And hopefully we do JT Cooper. We hopefully we do Warrior Rounds justice, because what Warrior Rounds does is amazing. If you haven't went to Warrior Rounds, go to warriorrounds.com and check out their story, and listen to the veteran stories that are on there. Watch those videos. I guarantee you won't have a dry eye when you're done watching that video, because when I watch James's video, holy cow! Yeah. Anyway, James, thank you for coming on, hanging out with DB and I today.
Absolutely, brother.
And I know it helps you as much as it helps me to be able to talk and get to know all these different people, and that's
Absolutely.
what we're all about, is getting that networking together. So
You're damn right. You can't have too many people in your corner.
no, definitely you can't.
It's when you
And
fight them demons all by yourself that sucks.
yes, sir, I would agree. My friend. Fighting the demons by yourself is never good. So, but anywho, like I always say, Stay safe out there, and I got your 6. Peace.
Deuces.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find Homefront SITREP on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there. I got your 6.